Right, lads. So, yeah, Mario Kart World. To say it looks interesting would really be an understatement. I do apologize for only getting around to talking about it just now. There's just been so much information coming out. There's been new stuff coming out pretty much every day, and I've just not found the opportunity to just sit down and chat about it. And I've done my best to compile together as much information about the new game as I can, and I'm going to talk and give my thoughts about as much as I can in this video. Now, granted, I think it's pretty inevitable that some of this stuff is going to be out of date, because as I said, we're pretty much getting new information every single day, and there's the Direct in a couple weeks to look forward to. But even despite of that, this is also hype, so I want to give my thoughts on as much as I can, even if I end up missing a few things or if some stuff goes out of date. And anyway, for the stuff I do miss, that is what the comment section is for. Anyway, first topic of the day. Nintendo, please give me whatever you were smoking when you were coming up with that character roster. Okay, let me check my list. Okay, here are all the new characters. Stingbee, Monty Mole, Sidestepper, Nabbit, Bat, Bidybug, a Penguin, Cataquack, Hammerbro, Pokey, Cheep Cheep, Piranha Plant, Pianta, Peeper, Spike. Okay, I think that's all of them. Is there anybody I've missed? Oh, there is? Okay. Skeleton Fish, Charging Chuck, Dolphin, Coin Coffer, Conkter, Rocky Wrench, and they have a Boshi outfit as well. Straight up, I can't complain with all of these new characters. But you know what I can complain about? No Funky Kong, no Diddy Kong, and no PT Piranha, to my knowledge. Now, I can live without PT Piranha, especially since there already is a plant in the game, I suppose. But no Diddy Kong and Funky Kong is interesting, especially when characters like Conkter are making the roster. I mean, I'm sorry if you're a Conkter fan, but I don't think he quite stands up to Funky Kong or Diddy Kong, at least in my opinion. But yeah, Nintendo clearly just went balls to the walls with the new characters, and yeah, fair play. I'm certainly looking forward to giving the Coin Coffer a go. I forgot he even existed. Oh, also, Kamek did not make the roster, but it's for decent reason, and you'll see why later on. Okay, next topic of discussion is the new tracks. There's a lot to talk about, so get comfortable, and there's probably going to be a lot that I miss. So the initial tracks that we first see in the trailer are in the Mushroom Cup, Mario Bros. Circuit, Crown City, Whistle Stop Summit, and DK Spaceport. Mario Bros. Circuit does not look that special. It's the track we initially saw first. It really is just your basic starter course, not much more to say on it. Crown City again looks fine from the little snippets I've seen. I can't judge it too much right now, but it looks fine. Again, the same for Whistle Stop Summit. The track looks fine, not too much to comment. DK Spaceport, from the little bits I've seen, looks very interesting. That's what I'm excited for, because Nintendo do like to go all out with their Mushroom Cup finale tracks, as we've seen with tracks like Toad's Factory and Thwomp Ruins. For the Flower Cup, it's all retros, which is pretty unusual for the Mario Kart series, but we have Desert Hills from the DS, Shy Guy Bazaar from the 3DS, Wario Stadium, which I'd assume is from the N64, and Airship Fortress from the DS. Desert Hills I don't really understand because it's not that good of a track and we've seen it before, but whatever, I suppose. Shy Guy Bazaar I do understand. Very good track that we've not seen come back before, so I'm very excited for that. Wario Stadium from the N64 is the only N64 track to not make a comeback from my understanding, so I'm very excited to see what they do with it. And finally, Airship Fortress, the track that so many people wanted in the Booster Course Pass. That is what I'm looking forward to. And from what it shows on the trailer, there seems to be some alternate glider path. The Star Cup has DSDK Pass, Starview Peak, Sky High Sunday, and 3DS Wario Shipyard. DSDK Pass makes sense, and it's a pretty solid track to bring back. Starview Peak looks like some kind of sequel to Rosalina's Ice World. I think this is going to be a pretty good track. I don't really know why they'd bring back Sky High Sunday when Squeaky Clean Sprint and Piranha Plant Cove were right there. Not to mention Yoshi's Island too. But if they can actually do a good job on the track, then I'll be fine with it. And thank God for 3DS Wario Shipyard. This was my #1 track I wanted for the Booster Course Pass. I think this track was made for Anti-Gravity. Of course, we didn't get it, but that told me we were pretty much gonna get it in the next game. And we have, so I'm incredibly pleased, and I'm really looking forward to it. And finally, the Shell Cup, we have SNES Koopa Troopa Beach. I'm pretty sure it's not the N64 Koopa Troopa Beach, at least according to this map I got from MK France on Twitter. Big shout to FlowX for this, by the way. He got to test out the game and get us all this information. A new track, Faraway Oasis, another version of Crown City, and Peach Stadium. N64 Koopa Troopa Beach is a solid one. I have more to discuss on that one pretty soon. Faraway Oasis doesn't excite me that much, I'll be completely honest. It doesn't look like there's much going on. I hope another version of Crown City is unique enough so it deserves its own track slot. And Peach Stadium, from what I've seen, looks pretty amazing, so I'm fairly excited for that one. And again, thanks to Mario Kart France and Flow X being able to test out the game, we now have a bunch more information on the confirmed tracks in the game. Starting from top to bottom, we have Acorn Heights, SNES Ghost Valley, which might be mixed in within Boo Cinema. This game's Bowser's Castle has been confirmed to be at the top left of the map. SNES Mario Circuit, which all three of them seem to be combined. Toad's Factory, which every fan under the sun wanted to come back. Dandelion Depths. SNES Vanilla Lake 1, which might be integrated into Sky High Sunday. Some autumn-themed track that we don't know the name of yet. N64 Choco Mountain, which might be mixed within Choco Island 2. There is, in fact, a Rainbow Road, which doesn't really come off as a surprise, but it's nice to see it. GCN Peach Beach. Great Something Block Ruins. GCN Dino Jungle. And finally, Moo Moo Meadows. I know that wasn't exactly top to bottom, but I kind of forgot about that one. My bad. So yeah, let me quickly give you all my thoughts on all of them. Firstly, all of the SNES tracks seem to be mixed in within other tracks, whether it be other SNES tracks, or different retros, or nitro tracks, which I think is really cool. Let's be real, if just SNES tracks were coming back on their own, people would not be happy with that in the slightest. But I think this is the perfect way to bring back SNES tracks, and actually make people excited for them. I mean, I'm excited to play both Ghost Valley and this new track, Boo Cinema. Next, just the retros on their own. Toad's Factory, I mean, it's Toad's Factory, I'm bloody hyped. I think everybody can comfortably agree with me on that. Moo Moo Meadows we got in the last game, so I'm kind of surprised they're bringing it back, but I don't necessarily hate it, so I'm not complaining too much. GCM Peach Beach, again, it's not that special of a track, and we've seen it before, so I'm a bit surprised. It's not one I'm particularly excited for, I can't lie. Again, it's the same case for Choco Mountain. We've seen it before, and it's not that good of a track in my opinion. But the difference is here, they're mixing in Choco Island 2 within Choco Mountain. So that could give the track a good boost. Okay, just in from the Mario Wiki, apparently a lot of these SNES tracks are just going to be intermissions between some of the main tracks. A pretty interesting way to utilize these less popular retro tracks. For most of the original tracks, I've not seen any gameplay of them yet, but for Bowser's Castle and Rainbow Road especially, since they are such staples of the franchise, I'm very intrigued to see what they do with it. Please do not butcher them, Nintendo. I hated the last game's Rainbow Road. You did good with the Bowser's Castle, just make sure you get it right in this game. I have seen gameplay of Great Something Block Ruins. It just looks like an upgraded DK Jungle. That is one I'm very excited for. But one more thing to discuss is that there seems to be a bunch of routes connecting every single track in the entire game. This makes me incredibly excited for the free roam mode, which we will be discussing later. You can bet your life on it. But yeah, my overall thoughts on all the tracks, I think they did pretty good. They nailed down the fan favorites like Toad's Factory and Wario Shipyard. There were some interesting ones. I don't know what Sky High Sunday and Peach Beach and Choco Mountain are doing here, but it's not enough to ruin the entire retro track selection. I think overall, they did a really solid job. And as for the Nitro tracks, we have been seeing bits of them on the Nintendo Treehouse, and they look pretty solid. I'm excited for them. Okay, the next topic of discussion is going to be the new items in Mario Kart World. And we have the hammer, the question mark block, some sort of Kamek globe, the ice flower, the Wonder Burger, if you can call it that, a golden shell, and the Mega Mushroom. Okay, so first up is the hammer. This seems to be a very aggressive item where you throw it up. It's kind of like an upgraded banana snipe, and you need to be a good shot to actually hit your targets. At least that's what I think right now. It could just be a brainless, spammy item in the future, you know, we'll see. The question mark block gives you coins, gives you a lot of coins, and I think that's fine. The coin limit has gone up to 20 in this game, so there needs to be a way for players to be able to get their coin count up a lot easier, and this serves that role. The Kamek globe is a weird one. This item is the reason that Kamek is not playable in this game. I can't really wrap my head around what it does exactly, but I'll just read what the wiki says. A new crystal ball-like item with a Magikarpa's magic symbol inside that summons it, which then proceeds to summon many of a certain type of enemy ahead of all the racers in front of the player who used it, as well as turning them into that enemy temporarily. The ice flower, from people that have actually been watching the Nintendo Treehouse a bit more than me, have said to me it is pretty much the same as the fire flower, but if that's wrong, you can let me know in the comments. The Wonder Burger, which you get from like the packed lunches around the track, change your character's outfit. Outside of that, I'm not really sure what they do exactly. I've not seen any proper footage of the golden shell yet, but if I had to take a wild guess, if you throw it, it probably just gets you coins, whether that's just passively when you throw it, or it only gets you coins if you're able to hit an opponent. Either way, I'm pretty sure a golden shell is going to be related to coins somehow. And finally, the Mega Mushroom. I am delighted to see this item make a return, and I think because of how spacious the tracks are, I think it's going to work pretty well in 24-player races. And for the returning items from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, every single item will be returning except for the Crazy 8, which I'm very happy about, and the plant, which I'm actually quite disappointed by. I'd say it makes sense since you can play as a plant in this game, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe didn't really follow that logic with the Boo, and I think the plant as an item is much better than multiple ones they brought back from 8DX. So it's not a decision I'm that happy with. But thank God we didn't get some kind of ridiculous Crazy 9 or 10 item. The Crazy 8 was bad enough, I did not want to see that in the new game. But yeah, overall, there are a ton of items in the new game. Even some of the ones that I didn't necessarily want to come back, like the Fire Boomerang or the Boo. But I suppose the more the merrier, since it is 24-player races. And if there's not enough items in the game, there's going to be a bit too many duplicates in races. Oh, one more item I forgot that's coming back is the Feather, but not in battle mode. You can actually use it in proper races now. And honestly, I don't mind the item, so I have no complaints. Yeah, overall thoughts on the items, they're fine. I think they maybe could have kept the plant. Very happy they got rid of the Crazy 8. And most of the new items look fine. I think the Ice Flower might be a bit annoying. The Question Mark Block and the Golden Shell are both good tools to get your coin count up. I think the Mega Mushroom and the Hammer items are going to be very good. I don't really see the point in the Kamek Globe. It doesn't really seem to do that much. And then the Burger item is the Burger item. I can't really give many opinions on it, if I'm honest. All of this will probably make for a chaotically fun time, just hopefully not too chaotic. Okay, now let's get on to the two new game modes in Mario Kart World. Very exciting. First up is Open Roam, pretty much telling us Mario Kart is going open world, which I just think is incredible. You can kind of use this as a waiting lobby with your mates, go around, take pictures with them. It's just a really chill game mode. And you can even go around to different tracks and do missions on those tracks. Overall, this is not something they had to add by any means, but they did, and I just think that's awesome. It just gives players a lot more to do in the game, and you best believe there's going to be a big hide-and-seek video when the game releases. That is what I'm looking forward to the most about Open Roam mode. And last but not least is Knockout mode. We needed this for so long. If any of you watch TWD98, this guy's like Mario Kart's heritage, he does so many knockout videos of his own. He's been doing them for years and I've always enjoyed watching them. To have it actually integrated into the game itself by Nintendo, it's just all we could ask for, really. And on a personal standpoint, I think it's going to make for some great kind of challenge videos. It's just going to be a really good time in general. I think Nintendo got it absolutely bang on with these new game modes. Now for a pretty interesting talking point, the new game mechanics in Mario Kart World. And there's actually a surprising amount of stuff to talk about. First up is the vehicle transformation. Gliders and underwater driving has essentially been scrapped, and your vehicle now completely transforms to accommodate the terrain. Instead of gliders, your vehicle basically just turns into a jet. And instead of underwater driving, you drive on top of the water, and your vehicle turns into a speedboat. Basically, if you like Sonic All-Stars Racing transformed, then you'll like this change a lot. Me personally, I think this is a fine change, and the on-water driving's gonna be interesting to say the least. Another bit of driving that's gonna be interesting is rail grinding, and all I've gotta say is, live and learn. Hanging on the edge of tomorrow. You might have to deal with my singing because I don't actually know if I can put the song itself into the video because I might get copyright nuked. But yeah, rail grinding is more driving tech, so I can't complain. Next up is wall riding and wall jumping. This is the replacement for anti-gravity. I don't really have much to say on this. I mean, it looks fine. Makes the game look like a bit more of a platformer, if anything. They took a page out of Fortnite's rocket racing for this one for sure, and if done correctly, I think can work pretty well. Next up, they mentioned this in the trailer, that's the interactive weather. Depending on the weather or just the time of day, the properties of a track will change. I don't exactly know what the differences are between night and day, but I know for a fact if it's raining, the entire track becomes slippery, which I can guarantee for a fact on some tracks is going to be the most tedious thing in the world. Assuming this is possible on every single track. If it's not, it might only be able to rain on tracks where it's not entirely insufferable for it to be slippery. We'll have to see when the game comes around. Next up is the fact that for most items in the game, if you pull it, you instantly trail it. I don't think this is a good change, in my opinion. In the previous game, knowing when to trail and when to not was one of the biggest bits of strategy there was, and the fact you basically don't have a choice in the matter now just takes that away, which I really don't like. But yeah, you can trail items like a coin and a bullet bill. I don't really see the point, to be honest. The next game mechanic, if you can call that, is changing outfits, which happens when you take a Wonder Burger. I don't really understand this because I think this is all the Wonder Burger does. There isn't exactly any benefit to changing your outfit and you have to go out of your way to get these burgers. This one just really confuses me. There'll probably be more information out about it by the time this video is released. That's the case for a lot of things in this video, to be fair. Maybe in that case, then I'll understand. We'll see. Next up is a pretty interesting one. The different interactive cars on the racetrack. What we've seen so far is a massive truck that Berta runs into that just plows through all the races in front of her. A supposed cannon on the middle of the racetrack you can just run into. Sure. But yeah, I hope they're not too broken. They look fun. But that cannon especially looks game-breaking, but all I think it does is trigger your vehicle to turn into a plane. So I think it's fine. A pretty interesting one is that you seem to get punished way less for getting hit in this game, which honestly, I'm all for it. I always did think in the previous game you got punished a bit too much for getting hit, and it also was a lot easier to get hit. I imagine that's not changing in this game. So at least making it less punishing is a very good step up. This one doesn't really matter that much, but the Ultra Mini Turbo has changed from purple to being a rainbow color. Doesn't really matter that much, but I've got it written down, so might as well mention it. It's not much of a game mechanic, but the picture mode is pretty cool, and I'm just saying it's going to make thumbnail making 10 times easier, so I'm giving it a mention. Also, the max coin count is 20, as I mentioned previously. This makes complete sense with 24 players, as the lowest spot you start in, the more coins you have, it goes up to 5 with 12 players in 8DX. So it only makes sense that 23rd and 24th gets 10 coins instead. And this is a very interesting one. It seems the shock has been nerfed into the ground. Let me explain. So the first obvious change that I was shown is that if you get shocked in first place, you hardly stay small for that long. So that on its own already makes the shock 10 times less effective. And then on top of that, the shock only affects the people in front of the shock user. So if you're behind the guy using the shock, you're pretty much immune to it. And honestly, that on top of hits punishing you less makes front running much better in this game. And I guess, as some of you would say, it'll make it a real racing game. I don't exactly think that myself, but I think it's a good change. And the last major talking point is going to be how trailing is going to work in this game. On Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you get trailed if the other person on your screen runs into your trail. On your screen, you could be absolutely miles away from a trail, but if it's laggy enough, that might not be the case for the person with the trail. But in Mario Kart World, they went back to how it worked in Mario Kart Wii. You only get trailed if you hit the item on your screen. And something that is really buggy about this is that if you run into an enemy player's trail, if you didn't on their screen, you still get hit, and they keep their trail. That is honestly not good, and I hope they fix this. We're gonna have to see in the future. Overall, there just seems to be a lot going on in terms of the new game mechanics and features. The game seems to reward front running much more, which I am a big fan of, but the new trail system could be good. They just need to fix that one bug I mentioned. That is pretty weird. Yeah, before I get onto the final section of the video, there are a couple things I found while in the process of making the video. Firstly, back to the topic of getting hit being less punishing. How bad the spin out is when you get hit is apparently momentum based, which I think is awesome. It basically tells me you need to position yourself correctly to not get punished as bad. And lastly, just like in previous titles, when you fall off the track, you lose all of your items. And again, I think this is a pretty good change, because obviously it's going to reward the players that don't fall off the track. Of course, falling off the track is never good, but I think punishing players harder for it is just great, in my opinion. I have no complaints. And yeah, that's all I've found so far. Look, I'm not a professional reviewer or anything. I made a little spreadsheet when the trailer just dropped, but outside of that, I have not done any extensive research at all. I just wanted to make this video, waffle a little bit, and give you my thoughts on the stuff that I've seen so far. I want to save my thoughts on literally everything when we get to the direct in a couple weeks. Then you're gonna get probably the most knowledgeable waffle session from me you've ever seen. And I have been getting the question a lot recently, am I gonna drop Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a result of this new game? And my answer to that is it's gonna depend on how good Mario Kart World is a lot. I consistently play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the highest level, which is a big selling point for my channel. And whether I drop Mario Kart 8 Deluxe entirely is going to depend on how good Mario Kart World is competitively, because getting good at the new Mario Kart game is a big ambition of mine. But of course, I'm not going to force myself if I don't enjoy playing the game competitively, and at that point, I'd still want to play Mario Kart at a high level, and if that's the case, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still always going to be there. But the really good thing about Mario Kart World is that even if the game isn't maybe ideal competitively, there seems to be so much stuff to do outside of that, which I just cannot say the same for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So whether I drop Mario Kart 8 Deluxe entirely is still much to be seen, but the fact is I'm still going to be grinding it until the release of Mario Kart World. So if I do end up dropping the game completely when Mario Kart World comes around, well, in the 2 months we have before it releases, I'll try and do as much as I can on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But I mean, yeah, there's no saying right now, but we'll see when the game releases. And one last thing before I end the video. The prices are a piss take, Nintendo. Sort it out.